Hi YouTube, here's my Electrolux 502S which I got off eBay last week for £11.50. The seller who I got it off said it had been in daily use for the past 30 years, which I just found astonishing. If it really has been used every single day for the last 30 years or more, then that's just incredible that it's still running, which it is. But I suppose you're just lucky with some, aren't you? The toolkit that I have for it didn't actually come with this machine. I got that separately with an Electrolux 500 which I also got off eBay. The 500 was quite local to me, and when I noticed it came with a box of tools, I thought, I'm having that. So it was only £3, so I grabbed it. Interestingly though, it says on the side of the box for upright cleaner model 502. Well, this is the 502S. The 502 is from the 70s and the 502S is from the early 80s, I believe. I think the only difference in the toolkit with the 502 and the 502S is the 502 has a vinyl woven hose, whereas the 502S toolkit would have come with a plastic hose. But apart from that, I think you get the same tools with it. The box wasn't converted for the tool caddy when I got it. I did that. Believe me, I spent ages dwelling on it, whether I should do it or whether I shouldn't. And in the end, I just said, sod it, and I converted it. So anyway, I'll give you an overview. It does have about 3 main issues I'd like to point out. First of all, the bumper is perished. Don't know how well you'll see that, but there's splits all in it, and it's completely broke off there. Split bit there, and there. It's worse on this side, and it's starting to come off there. Secondly, it's sun bleached, as you probably might have noticed. If I just recline it, there we go. Probably see that down in there, that's like the creamy off-white colour it's supposed to be. As you can see where it changes colour, and that's the colour it is. But it doesn't really bother me that much, because when you look at it, it all blends in. It's all like the same colour, so it doesn't really matter to me that much. And thirdly, or lastly, the front bearing in the motor, which is the bearing behind the fan, is quite dry, so it does tend to screech when you turn it off. When I took the motor apart, when I cleaned this thing, I did drip some oil into that bearing, but I couldn't actually fully access the bearing because the armature's like fused to the fan itself. There's no like nut on there so you can remove the armature from the fan and the fan casing. But oh well, I guess the motor wasn't designed to be serviced. I could do with taking it apart again and re-oiling that and let it soak in a bit, but anyway, that's that. So, as you can see, this is the original style, which was before they changed it to the flat front. Although this is still a sort of flat front, but it's quite a big square looking thing, which I believe it was the 504 they changed that on. So yeah, and it also had a height adjustment knob lever thing here, which this doesn't, it's automatic. Just notice there's a rubber mark on it there, like someone dropped a heeled shoe on it or something, because this has been sat in the hall downstairs. So anyway, so yeah, this is the original style hood. It has, well, before I move up, it says Electrolux Made in Britain 502S. Further up, you'll see this detailing design on the bag compartment. The 502 didn't have that. I think it was like brown, and it like stopped about there. And this on the top here was also brown. But I guess they just added this as a design feature. There's the bag compartment release latch, which is metal. It says on it super suction. Here's the bag full indicator whistle, which goes from 0 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. I have it set on probably about somewhere between 2 and 3. I don't really think it does anything anyway. I haven't had it go off yet, even with the hose plugged in and covering the hose. But you got an off switch up there on the handle, which I think that's on. No, I think that's off. Anyway, I don't know. But quick release cord hook. Oops, trip that switch again. And that cord hook does swivel 360 degrees. The cord comes out of the handle, and that also swivels, I think that's about 180. Doesn't go all the way around. Probably a bit more than 180. Goes right up there. Stops probably about there. But anyway, it's got quite a nice cream coloured cord, kind of like the cord they used on the 1980's Hoover Juniors. About halfway down we've got the other bottom cord hook, which also doubles as a carrying handle. Exhaust vent. This is a clean air vacuum cleaner. We've got the suction adjuster here, which goes from maximum to minimum. And all that does is it opens up some holes. 2 holes there, so the more you move it towards minimum, the more those holes open up, and vice versa. As you move it towards maximum, those holes close up. I usually leave it on maximum, but I guess you could let some suction out when you go onto thin pile carpet, so it's not really hard to push. And of course you can pull that off completely, slot the hose in, and you have the handle release pedal there. Inside, when we unlatch the thing here, the handle flops open, and as Katie Holland says in the 502 advert, the bag lifts clean out. I suppose that was kind of a deluxe thing back in the 70s or the early 80s, referring to this one, because not many things were top fill back then. In here we've got the pre-filters. We've got the removable filter, which is this one, and it has like a little pouch in it. I'm not sure if it's actually meant for an air freshener, but I've managed to just slot one in there. Maybe it is meant for that, but this is the original filter. I just washed it, but I did replace the permanent filter down there, which just unscrews. I believe this was the first, well, not this particular one, but the Electrolux 500 was the first cleaner to have filtered air. There was the Hoover convertible, but apparently that had a mesh pre-filter and not an actual filter that trapped fine dust. But anyway, slot the bag back in. The only problem with taking a half-used bag out is it can like puff dust out everywhere when you try and slot it back in. There you go. And that closes again. Oh, and the internal cable there I had to replace because it had snapped completely. It was only sheer luck that when you closed the compartment, the wires matched back up to form a connection. So that was unsafe, so obviously I replaced the wire. Underneath here we've got a double row brush roll. Bristles are relatively stiff, I suppose. I believe the later ones had 1 row bristles and 1 row beta bars. They probably added the beta bars, or the beta bar, because it was only one, when the 504 came out, when they changed the cleaner head style. But yeah, I'll show you the rating plate. Probably won't be able to read it, but it says Electrolux, a Lux product made in Britain, model Z502S, product number 9004440, serial number 225, 240 volts, 50 Hz and 500 watts. This is very powerful for a 500 watt clean air, I must say. So, I think that's about it for the overview, and I'll plug it in and get going. I'll put some sawdust down, and then I'll show you the tools after that. Cable always seems to knot up when I'm making a video, but when I'm not, just opens up freely. Anyway, get some sawdust here. So like I said, it's got a dry front bearing, so if it squeals when I turn it off, then that's why, but you can't really hear it when it's running. So here goes. It's got a squeaky wheel too, by the way. You could hear it there. But anyway, yeah, it's a really good vac. Like I said, it lifts the carpet quite well for just a 500 watt motor. I'll show you the tools. So first of all, you've got the hose, extension wand, crevice tool, floor tool, which is okay for hard floors, but it's a horrendous floor tool for carpets. Oops. And the ever famous butterfly tool, which is an upholstery tool on one side and a very soft dusting brush on the other. And as Katie Holland says in the 502 advert, the hose plugs straight in for all over cleaning, which it does, and it's very convenient, and you could do it while the motor's running, which you couldn't do with a Junior. So I'll just put some sawdust down again, and hopefully it won't clog up the upholstery tool, so I won't put much down, he says. Okay. So first I'll show you the suction, and then I'll show you it picking this up. hear that bearing a little bit now. Definitely have to sort that bearing out. But as you can see, the suction's quite adequate and is a lot stronger than most uprights that were out at the time. So yeah, and it's so convenient to fit as well, compared to what other cleaners were out. There we go. So anyway, that was my Electrolux 502S. I'm not sure if you can actually date Electroluxes. I just know that this is from the early 80s, but I'm not sure if I can actually date it exactly. But anyway, hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.